We've always heard that it's really important to learn in your mother tongue or local language. But there are certain educational disciplines like, for example, fashion and design, where you need to interact with buyers from across the world. And most of the work is done in English. So there's a paradox there. So in this session, we're going to throw more light on this paradox, Rinesh. To begin with, what are your thoughts on including regional languages in creative education, like fashion or design?
To start with, હું ગુજરાતી છું and मी मुंबईवरून येतो. So these are the two languages prominently we use in Mumbai. Talking about regional languages today, creativity, to be honest, has no language, right? And from the industry and the education space that I come from, we encourage students to communicate through their work more and not depend upon the language that they are forced to use following the Western culture. So it's always better to encourage children to communicate through their art, through their work, through their designs, through their furnitures, so that eventually when we grow up, the work is highlighted, right? So I wouldn't say there is a barrier in terms of any language, to be honest, in our industry. Of course, there are protocols that we have to following the government, the influence, to be honest. But all in all, I don't think there is a barrier.
Yeah. So do you feel that we are missing out on a lot of talent because of this, because of language barrier? Because a lot of talent resides in smaller cities, tier 2, tier 3, who may not be very comfortable or fluent with English as a language. So what kind of a talent are we missing out on?
On this, I would say it all starts with us educators. How comfortable we make our students. If I start a campus, we have a campus in Barampur, which is in Odisha. It's a tier 4 region. When we entered that particular space, we had to change a lot of things. Change meaning we had to make students very comfortable talking in their own language. My faculties were recruited from regional spaces in Odisha, who we had to train intensively, maintaining that curriculum standard. But it was a task, right? Today, when I look back, all the students are comfortable speaking to me in Odia, even when I don't understand a lot of Odia language, but it's always better for them to be comfortable of what they're doing. So as educators, we have to be, I would say, flexible enough, or rather take it as a challenge to make our students comfortable and ask them to speak in whatever language that they can. So in that fashion, of course, the times are changing. In that fashion, the comfort part, as you mentioned, talent part, as you mentioned, is fading away, and students are coming out, stepping up and showing their work intensively. And this is something that I would say also has to be communicated to the parent, because more than the student, the parent is underconfident. कि मेरा बच्चा कर पाएगा कि नहीं, right? मैंने नहीं सिखाया उसको, right? So that failure factor in terms of parents have to fade away.
Right, but Rinesh, students also need to present abroad, to buyers, prepare portfolios, communicate to them in English. So how do you balance the two, recruiting students from, smaller cities, giving them advantage of, probably interacting in vernacular language, yet being English ready for the international market? How do you balance the two then?
I would give a nice example. We do an intensive student exchange program from Italy, Germany, and all those countries. When students from that particular region come to us, the university sends a translator, right? They're going to be sticking to their own language, and that is the pride that they have. Today, when I talk about India, we also have to promote that. We as institutions also must, send translators. And in terms of English ready, I would also put it across the student that, okay, if that student is wanting to learn English, yes, way better. But as educators, it's our job again that, we provide them with the facility. A very recent example, 3 students from a very well-known university in Italy, Milan, came to our campus. They came for an extensive fashion styling program at JD. our faculties faced a lot of difficulties in communicating with them, right? But the work that they showed, they did a research in Rajasthan. They went to a city called Jhunjhunu in Rajasthan. I don't know if you must be aware. Yeah. They did their extensive research, and the work that they showed was phenomenal, right? So, again, language was a concern, but communication through work made it even easier for our faculties to understand that, okay, these guys have understood what Indian culture is all about.
Sure. But if you look at it, Rinesh, much of the fashion education itself, as a discipline, is rooted in Western culture, be it fashion theory or, market analysis, design history. Everything is rooted in the Western culture. What would an Indianized or region-specific fashion education look like? And would that be more competitive or less, if you look at it from that perspective?
I would thank the new education policy, the NEP 2020. Even at a BDES in fashion design course, we have to teach Sanskrit as a language, right? And along with Sanskrit, I agree, we have French, we have German, we have Spanish, we also have Hindi, and the last semester is English, right? Talking about, again, the factor of English, students want to learn English, students also want to learn different cultures. Yes, history also is Western centric, but there's a huge history in terms of fashion and design that, is missed out because we follow the Western region. Now, at JD, what we've done is that every year we have different themes where students have to work upon. Work as in they have to create their collections in terms of fashion, in terms of interior, they have to make furnitures based on that theme. And this year, the theme is Artisan 2.0. Now, why Artisan 2.0? I know for a fact that I can't force students to stop using AI, right? But it is also very important for our students to know the Indian culture, the Indian history. So we are slowly, steadily moving towards the fact that we want to promote Indian culture to the fullest so that the base is strong, and then slowly and steadily adapt to the Western-centric culture. And in this transition, when students go out to different regions of India, now for example, I come from Mumbai. When I come to Delhi, it's a different culture altogether, right? It's right from the time I landed, a cab guy talking to me in a way is a different culture. Mumbai will not have that. I don't want to go into the details of what happened with me yesterday, but yes, that's Delhi for you guys. I'm nothing against Delhi, but yeah. So, students also will learn with different regions of the country. What we've done in our BDES program and our MDES program is that the first month itself of the class starts, students have to go to Churchgate Station, Andheri Station. I don't know if you are aware of Churchgate and all those places in Mumbai. Is the packed station, anybody can go to. Catch a Virar train, right? Why? Because when they see number of people, they can do people analysis and know how people are. And that is the best learning any student can have in today's generation. That is the first step of experiential learning. Slowly and steadily, language is also adapted, right? How people talk. Now, my Hindi is a Bombaya Hindi. I am looked down upon when I come to cities like Kanpur, Delhi, Punjab. Ki Hindi iska to bahut bekar hai. See, now my Hindi was also Bombaya Hindi. So that eventually students adapt, students learn, and English also is adapted in that fashion.
Great thoughts there, Rinesh. So if multilingual education in creative field is to become a reality, what are the top 2 or 3 best practices according to you should institutions adopt? Given that you've been there, done that, you've already done that in your institution, what would you recommend?
More of experiential learning, as I mentioned. It's something that students have to go out, students have to move from their places. Gone are the days where students can sit in one class and learn everything. Just have to move around, see new things, learn, adapt to new ways of technology, of art, of culture, and of course follow the Indian culture way better and more than what we've been following. That are the simple tricks that we can adapt to multilingual possibilities in design and in other areas also. And don't be shy, right? I was shy of showing my work. Now, surprisingly, I was always the first rank holder in handwriting, but I was always shy to participate, right? Of course, I would not be shy on talking right now on a stage because my character is such. So never be shy.
Shed those inhibitions.
Yeah, it can be anything for that matter. It's your work, it's your collection, it's your color choice. Now, I have had students who are shy of the fact that they've used yellow. In terms of interior, there are students who are shy of the fact that, sir, I used furniture, I used wood more than ceramic. Why? It's okay. So that factor of being judged is a lot in today's generation. Why? Because of AI. Because everything, even when I go to ChatGPT, first thing it says is that, okay, let me think. Right? So that is somewhere where students today feel that, boss, I am going to be judged. So please don't be judged is what I feel, and that eventually will turn out into a proper process in multilingual abilities also.